But I believe in giving credit where it's due. The Conservative leaders' team, they're smart, they've got a plan, and they're implementing it ruthlessly. Their strategy is to change their appearance, to give the appearance of change. And their strategy is to conceal what they really think. And when salesmen don't tell you what they're selling, it's because they're selling something they know no one would want to buy. But I'm a man for detail. And I've discovered some clues about what would be in store if we had a Conservative Britain. They want us to believe that, like us, they now care about public services. But when Mr. Cameron actually talks to his party about the spending plans for the services, he says the difference between Labour and Tory levels of public investment will be dramatic and fundamental. That means Tory public spending cuts. They want to tell us that we're all progressives now. But the day that Hazel Blears and Caroline Flint were announcing a £1 billion package to support millions of rural and urban homeowners, the Conservatives were confirming that their first tax priority is to take that £1 billion from hard-working families and hand it over to the 3,000 richest estates in Britain. And they want to tell us they now believe in investing in education, but they are committed to slashing £4.5 billion from the school building programme, axing the educational maintenance allowance that help poorer students, and opposing the education leaving age being raised to 18. And yes, friends, they would even take Sure Start from infants and their parents. One of our greatest gifts to the future, one of the first priorities for Tory spending cuts. And the Conservatives may want to represent the future, but whether it's their policy on Europe, or on energy, or on planning, or on tax credits, or university places, or 42 days, whenever they are tested on substance, they have nothing to offer to meet the big challenges of tomorrow because they are still prisoners of their past. And so if you look beneath the surface, you'll see that the Conservatives may have changed their tune, but they haven't changed their minds. And the Conservatives say our country is broken. But I repeat, this country has never been broken by anyone or anything. This country, it wasn't broken by fascism, by the Cold War, by terrorists. And of course there are problems, but this is a country being lifted up every day by the people who love it. We've got 4 million people helping Neighbourhood Watch. We've got 6 million sports volunteers. We've got over 5 million people whom I pay tribute today who are doing amazing work as carers in our communities. And just as we celebrated our national triumph when we won the 2012 Olympic Games for London, so too Andy Burnham, Tessa, Jowl and I, along with all of you, filled with pride this summer as our Olympic and Paralympic athletes showed British brilliance at its very best. That's why, for all the challenges, I don't believe Britain is broken. I think it's the best country in the world. I believe in Britain. And you know, stronger together, as England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, we can make our United Kingdom even better in the years to come. And as Sean Woodward said yesterday, we will work to complete the process of devolution in Northern Ireland. And ours is a country full of heroes, and we pay special tribute to the heroism of our armed forces. As Des Brown said yesterday, the service, the sacrifices in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in peacekeeping missions around the globe, quite simply, the best armed forces in any part of the world. You know, the whole lesson of the new world I've been describing earlier is that we must work together to meet the great shared challenges vital to our future. And I tell you, what we do together for the poor and the vulnerable is an act of compassion, yes, but it is more than that. It is what will determine whether this new global society succeeds or fails. And unlike the Conservatives, who are extremists and isolationists on Europe, we will work with our partners in the European Union. And we will work with America to deal with the immediate security challenges, with Europe and America working together to deal with the challenges in Georgia and in Iran. And David Miliband, Douglas Alexander and I will do everything in our power to bring justice and democracy to Burma, to Zimbabwe, and to Darfur. And I promise you, I will work with other countries to bring a permanent settlement, a secure Israel, and a viable Palestine to deliver peace for the people of the Middle East. And later this week, at Britain's request, the United Nations has summoned the leaders of the world to a special summit on what we know is now a global poverty emergency. You know, in the museum in Rwanda, which commemorates the millions who lost their lives, as the world looked the other way, there's a picture of a young boy called David, a 10-year-old who was tortured to death. And his last words were, "Don't worry, the United Nations will come for us." But we never did. That child believed the best of us, only to discover that the pieties repeated so often meant in reality nothing at all. The words "never again" became just a slogan and not what it should be, the crucible in which our values are tested. I tell you, this Labour government will not allow the world to stand by, as more than 30,000 children die today from diseases we know how to cure. And we will not pass by as 100 million men and women and children face a winter of starvation. So the poor will not go unheard tomorrow at the United Nations, because we, the British people, will speak up for them and speak up for justice.